How is a master plant dieta prescribed? It's a great question. Thanks, Phoebe, also for your comment there. Um, so ayahuasca is a very powerful plant which historically has been used by the native shamans as a diagnostic tool. Ayahuasca, I don't know if any of you have any experience with it. I know at least a couple of you do.
Mhm.
Allows, yeah, so ayahuasca allows both the person who's drinking it and the master healer who is also administering it and drinking it during a ceremonial experience. It allows them both to see, quote unquote. And sometimes that seeing is visual. Sometimes it's more kind of a sense of insights which come. And sometimes it's more kind of in the body, strong physical sensations, intuitions, things like that. But it basically allows a person to get a sense of what's going on in each different part of their being, in each different part of their system. Often, a person who's drinking ayahuasca will see perhaps blocks or tension or energies in the body. They may also see the state of their mind. They may also feel strong emotions, which are kind of reflected through the ayahuasca experience. And it also does things like it cleans the digestive system, it purifies and thins the blood. It's a good kind of herbal remedy in that regard. And for Westerners, it's particularly potent, I guess, in opening a sense of kind of spiritual consciousness, just stepping into that spiritual realm. It's a very physical, embodied experience of spirituality for most people. But what it's mostly used for by the native shamans is to diagnose the issues within a person. So at the same time as the person who's drinking it can kind of see, the maestro is able to scan and see the person's field, see their body, see the state of their mind, see their emotional state, and in particular, the problems. So these maestros, particularly in the tradition that we follow, the Shipibo tradition, and this is why we follow this tradition, they develop their skills over many years through dieting master plants. Master plants have been identified by them through thousands of years of uninterrupted shamanic healing practice in intimate relationship with nature in the heart of the jungle. And by dieting these plants, and we can talk a little bit more about what that means, they form a kind of energetic and spiritual bond and connection with the plants. And the plants develop their capacities as a shaman. They open their vision, their ability to see what's going on, their understanding of the mechanisms of healing. Question to record this meeting locally. We'll provide the link, Vidi, later. Okay, we'll make it public. So when the master is dieting these plants over years, this process of development of their skills happens gradually. It's like little by little, greater opening, greater ability to see. When a skilled maestro with a lot of knowledge and experience sits in front of a newcomer in a retreat, that first night, they're scanning the person's field with all of that capacity that they've developed over those years for seeing, and also through their own personal knowledge of dieting different plants. They know the different benefits and qualities and strengths of different plants. Also, what they've learned from their own families, their own parents and grandparents and other people around them. Most of the maestros we work with come from strong, like family lineages with pretty intense shamanic doctoring knowledge, and also through what the guest has shared with the maestro they'd like help with. So it can be some emotional challenges that they're there to have help with, or it could be a particular physical condition, or it could just be a general curiosity and spirituality. The maestro will put all of these things together, but mostly with what they see and what the medicine shows them during the ceremony is going to be the correct plant to help that person. And then the next night, the dieta is opened. So it's a pretty thorough answer to your question, Julie, but I hope that gives you a better sense as to how Vidi, sorry, as to how Tori, getting confused.
So the first night when they're scanning, you drink the first ayahuasca, or is that just?
To answer your question, yes, you will be drinking ayahuasca when they scan you.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm curious then, in between the ceremonies when you drink the ayahuasca, do they work something with that knowledge, or is it just through the medicine, or is it like sessions where they speak about it, or like when you were saying they scan you, so are you both drinking the ayahuasca as they scan you?
Yes, typically it's not absolutely essential.
No, yeah.
But typically, if you do drink, they see you. Mm-hmm.
And I was curious, so in between the drinking of the ayahuasca, the medicine, is there any other work going on, like session, speaking, or like a therapy between, or is it just the ceremony?
The way we do it, so we've learned over time that there's a bridge to build between the Western experience and perspective and that of the native person. And these guys have enormous knowledge about healing and enormous capacity for healing, but they also have a little bit of a challenge, I think, understanding just how disconnected we are in our culture from nature, from one another, from ourselves, and also how to explain to people the workings of their medicine world. It's like talking two different languages. So we see our role there at Caya Shobo in facilitation is very much bridging those differences in understanding and experience and perspective. So we run talk sessions every day at 10 a.m. typically, depending on, Peruvian sort of happenings can make things a little bit more need to be more flexible, but usually for 2 hours each day, we meet from Monday to Friday and we talk about what's come up. We teach about the dieta process, about what's happening. We give you the opportunity to hear from the maestros specifically about your process, and also they can teach you a little bit about their culture, their legends, their stories, and so on. And there's a kind of typical journey of discussions that we go through. So in the first week, it's a lot of introduction to the process and the typical things that come up during a dieta process. And then in the second week, it's more reflection on, okay, let's have a look at what is coming up. And then preparation for integrating the experience when you leave, and, explanation of the types of protection that the maestros can put around you, and teaching you how to facilitate your own healing work, because ultimately at the end of the day, we all are the ones who have to do the hard job of healing. We can receive help and support, but the change need to come from ourselves. So yes, we do provide a lot of, there's the talking, and then there's also other therapies, like we do what we call flower baths every other day. This is like fresh aromatic flowers and aromatic leaves, which are known to cleanse energy, are mashed up into water, and then that you tip that water onto your body, and it kind of cleans and purifies your energy, because a lot of stuff comes up in the ceremonies, and it's good to have that cleansing. There's other little things, like we do a sinus flush with fresh plants. We do eye drops to kind of clarify the vision. It's a lot of interaction with plants. And then you're drinking your dieta tea. Sometimes you'll be prescribed an extra tea, which is usually to calm the nervous system for people who have a lot of anxiety or stress, or have difficulty sleeping. There's also the opportunity to purchase massage treatment, and sometimes we have other therapists there. We specifically don't run like yoga, breath work, that sort of stuff. The dieta process itself is very intensive. You're welcome to do gentle yoga during the retreat. In the Maloka is a really beautiful sacred space to be and do things like that. But we typically encourage people to rest as much as possible and allow the plants to develop within you. Yeah. So that's pretty much how it goes. Unless, Francie, I'm forgetting something.
No, I think that's pretty much it. It's the focus really is on interaction with the plants and to develop the relationship with them. So we try to not distract ourselves too much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hi, Johanna, you have a question? Let me unmute you. Okay. Oh, we still need to. There you are. Yeah, you're on.
Okay. We are from Iceland, and what about injection?
Injections? Like
Yes.
what sort of injections?
Like for should we have something for yellow fever and like that?
I understand you. That's a good question. So in the jungle, there are cases of malaria and dengue and other diseases. Where we are, there's not really yellow fever. There is yellow fever in the Amazon, but the cases that have come up in the Amazon, sort of somewhat close to where we are still very far away, and they're very infrequent. In general, our experienced dieters prefer not to take anti-malarials. There isn't really a dengue preventative. I mean, I think there might be one, but there's various types of dengue. Malaria, there are 4 types of malaria in the, and the malarial preventatives only really protect you from one type. The other thing is, the reason the experienced dieters usually choose not to take preventatives from those particular diseases in the jungle is that it has a strong impact on the dieta process. It's not to say there isn't some risk. There is some risk of those sorts of diseases, but there isn't an easy solution. There's not like an easy shot you can take to sort of prevent that. And the medications that do help you with only some of the risk are pretty disruptive to the diet. Known to give nightmares and congest the blood, make the blood pretty unhappy. So you're in a purification process during dieta. Oh, that was the other thing I forgot. We often do a purgative as well early on in the retreat with a either azucena or albahaca or piñón blanco or coca. These are plants which are known to, like, when you administer them in the right way, they can promote a short bout of vomiting and clean the body, purify the blood, purify all of the organs. And afterwards, the system is way more open and clear. But if you're taking other medications, it pretty much makes the dieta process pointless.
Is it like, so basically like both these come through the fly, the mosquito. So is it basically that we try to not get bitten? Or
yes, that's a good factor as well. So all of our beds have mosquito nets around them, and the bedrooms have mosquito netting on the windows. There are mosquitoes in the jungle. The area where we are, I would say it's the least uncomfortable of the various places I've traveled to the jungle in Peru. You know, it's like I said, a fairly stable ecosystem. So I don't find the bugs especially terrible. Other places I've been, I've experienced really awful attacks of little sandflies, you know, those bites that will last like 6 weeks and they're really irritating. That's less of a concern where we are. But yes, there are mosquitoes, and helping to prevent them with ideally some natural repellent is also kind of prudent to do while you're in the jungle.
so just bring all the clothes and stuff, but you have the net, so we don't have to bring that, or
the nuts?
Mosquito nets.
Oh yeah, you don't need to bring mosquito nets. We have all of that. Yeah.
So if malaria happens, is it like very serious, or?
It can be very serious. Yes. It can
And this dengue
as well can be very serious. There are a few different types. One type of dengue is deadly, and the other types, you know, can be serious, can require hospitalization. Yeah. As I said, I've not seen anyone who's come to our place experience that. I have known a couple of people who've picked it up from visiting hotels in Cusco, where a lot of travelers are living in close quarters in hotels together. Yeah, and I've seen that could be pretty debilitating and require hospitalization. ultimately those people recovered from that and were stronger from the experience. But
and I mean, we're not far from a town if anything happens.
yeah, we're like a 45-minute motor car drive from town. There are a few really good town. I would say that they're the best in the world in terms of dealing with tropical disease. They're good quality, attend to things, but it's a topic that I feel like I think each person needs to make a choice that's right for them. And you need to read the recommendations, the official recommendations, and consider what we're sharing, which is that it definitely makes the dieta process difficult. Also that, thousands of people have come to our center over the years, and nobody's contracted those diseases. And most people have chosen not to take medications, but you each need to make your own choice and, decide what risk level is appropriate for you,
Yeah, just for me, we don't have a lot of bugs in Iceland. And when I go, like I was in Thailand, I got bitten there. And I went to the States, just in the city. I got 300 bites there.
Yes, I can imagine they like your fair skin a lot.
Yeah, yes, they do.
Yeah.
So that's why, because I want to go to, there's a lot of my friends here, and we are 9 going together from Iceland. And but that's that was I was thinking about, is it too risky for me to go there because of the bugs?
I wouldn't say that. And I think there's certain times of year that are better than others. Like August is the least mosquito bitten. It's fresh. And September is just starting to warm up again. So maybe there's a few more bugs there. But the worst times of year to go for bugs are probably like February through to April. And even then, I would say it's not worse than what we would experience here in Canada at certain times. So yes, I would imagine they'll be attracted to you. But I wouldn't say that it's, like I said, you have to make a choice that suits you, but it's not like you're definitely going to get sick with those things.
Thank you.
Welcome. Julia, you had another question?
Yes, I have a question. My body type is quite skinny, and I know, like, with Master Plant Dieta, you fast, right? Or how do you say English? Yeah, fasting, right? How is it like in the past? Do people lose a lot of weight, or?
Yeah, it depends. It depends on the nature of the diet usually, and also your choice. So we know that it can be a little bit of a shock for Westerners to jump from the normally very nourishing 3 meals we have a day to totally fasting. And we provide lots of food options. So there's chicken every other day, there's fish every other day, lots of different veggie options. There's quinoa, rice, corn, lots of things. And we offer you the option. Some people like to come down and they like to fast full on. Some people fast, the 10 days and just drink water, which is a very, very intensive way of doing it. Some people like to do the traditional Shipibo shamanic, diet while they're doing their dieta, which is where they'll eat a river fish, and a plantain each day, and that's it. Some people like to just maybe eat a little bit less than they would normally. And then on the other hand, there's the nature of the plants. So certain plants are really more aimed at cleansing, purifying, and kind of debilitating the system temporarily. And with those diets, like Piñón Blanco is an example, which is typically prescribed when there's any type of addiction which needs treatment, or when the blood is really congested with a lot of medications. Piñón Blanco may be the diet which is prescribed. And that it kind of takes away your appetite a lot, and the plant doesn't like it if your body has a lot of food in there. So you tend to eat less anyway. Plus you're likely to be pooping and, purging a little bit. So in a diet like that, yes, you would lose a little bit more weight. But again, it's really up to you how intensely that happens. Some people feel really ready for that and want to really go for it, and they will lose a few kilos while they're there. And other people, it's not like that. And actually, some plants can tend to beef you up and kind of stock you up a little bit. Like Morosa tends to make you more hungry. And Ahosacha is more of a kind of strengthening plant. It's not really sensitive when you eat a lot. But in general, it's better to eat less. You have a better connection with the plants. You have a better connection with ayahuasca. And yes, we do tend to lose a little bit of weight while we're there, but I wouldn't say it's anything extreme. Okay. Hi, Kyler. Welcome. Nice to see you.
Hey. Yeah, good to see you too. I wanted to say first that I live in Hawaii and we have a lot of mosquitoes, and like lemongrass essential oil works pretty good as like a natural mosquito repellent. But I'm just
There's a few others, like geranium. I usually mix geranium, citronella, lemongrass, and a few other essential oils, and I make my own repellent, and I like that. You can also get other non-natural ones. It's just they're a little bit more toxic, but sorry, go ahead, Kyler.
So I'm mostly curious, like as a massage therapist, I've heard people say that you might want to take more time to integrate after dieta to have that kind of period of time when you're not interacting with other people's energies. Is there kind of like an average rule of thumb you'd recommend for body workers?
Yeah, for sure. It is a good idea. It's not like absolutely critical. A lot of people go back to their regular lives after a retreat, but it can definitely be helpful to have a little bit of time. And the amount of time to take, where you're really honoring that dieta process with a quiet space often depends on how long you were in dieta. So you're doing a 2-week retreat effectively during a stay at Caya Shobo. 5 to 7 days in relative isolation is a good idea, I would say, as you kind of slowly reintroduce regular foods and, touch back into your close relationships and into your work. As a massage therapist, especially, you're going to be absorbing energies from other people. So giving yourself, up to a week extras, that's a good idea. If you can't afford to do that, there are things that you can do to help protect your energy. Like we'll teach you how to use mapacho tobacco, if that's something that you feel comfortable with, or there are particular perfumes that can help to shield your energy, and ways to clean your energy after you've treated a person in order to not have it kind of their energies build up in your field after you've done a diet.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Okay, yeah.
Bíddu, þú ert að tala, sérst mér að þú ert að mute.
I beg your
Þú ert
pardon.
að taka mute, Bíddu.
I wanted to ask how many weeks you said. I didn't hear. How long time did you say that was you?
So our retreat is for 12 days. So it starts on a Monday. And
No, I mean after, like he was asking to protect our.
To like kind of honor the diet. Yeah, I'd say 5 to 7 days is a good amount of time. Yeah. When you've dieted a plant, their integration for us is quite a different topic than what most folk are talking about these days with ayahuasca integration. Ayahuasca integration is typically focused on reflecting on the visions and experiences that came up and looking at kind of the roots of that and what you want to do with that. Oops, like I've frozen. Oh no, I'm back. With the plant dieta, it's more of an ongoing process. So the maestros kind of say that the diet really starts working when you close it. It's curious. While you're in a dieta retreat, you're the maestros are putting the energy of the plant into your field. You're also drinking the plant every day. You're in your own self kind of reflection and process of like examining what the plant is showing to you and developing this kind of bond with the plant. And it's kind of like a gestation. It's like a little pregnancy, if you like, where you're nurturing and you're developing this relationship, and it builds and builds and builds. And while it's doing that, lots of stuff is coming up, stuff from your past, or often uncomfortable, difficult patterns within you that the plant wants you to kind of be cleaned of. And the whole process is this kind of little cauldron that's going on. Towards the end of the retreat, that energy is cleared away with the songs of the maestros and with the kind of timeline of the dieta as it's set up in the beginning. It kind of comes to a natural clearing and then kind of like a conclusion where everything's wrapped up and then is protected. And at that point, when the diet is closed, it's like it's born, it's birthed into your life, into your kind of energetic relationships with everything around you and also with yourself. And there, the plant, just like we see when a plant has been seeded and it's been nurtured and it's been developed into this little seedling, and then finally it's ready to go out into the sun and into the life. It keeps growing. And that's what integration is for us. It's looking at and supporting that process and reflecting on how it's happening. The bigger the diet you do, the bigger the integration process is, and the longer and the more kind of like cycles and waves there are of it. Sophia, you have to wait, darling. I'm sorry. You'll have to wait about an hour, love. Okay, wait about an hour and we'll have a chat about it. So yeah, during that journey of living with a plant, so to speak, there's lots of stuff which comes up for reflection. So when you come down for a little mini retreat, you're getting a potent kind of infusion of plant energies. You're initiating this spiritual and energetic relationship with the plant world. And, you know, it can be quite an intensive experience. And yet it's still just a 2-week kind of initiation. You know, it's when you leave from that experience, you're going to have a kind of mini version of that integration of the plant coming into your life. If you feel drawn to this practice, dieting again and again and again will intensify and amplify and develop and grow those plant energies in your field, and learning how to live with them and honor them and have a good relationship with them becomes kind of a lifelong practice. Yeah, so it's a rich topic. There's lots and lots to discuss in there, but certainly for a 2-week retreat, it can be good for at least a week to just give yourself and that process the chance to kind of stabilize as you return to the chaos and pressures of regular life. And then see, things will present themselves. Maybe you want to take some time out from a certain relationship or a certain activity. Maybe you want to explore different avenues professionally. Maybe you want to have better balance in your life with self-care. All sorts of different things can come up for you that the dieta process can kind of prompt you with after you've left. It's not as simple as just reflecting on the visions and experiences that you had. It's an ongoing re-examination of yourself, your life, and how you relate to everything. Okay. Other topics that are related? Hi, Tori.
Yes, I want to ask for how long time do you recommend that we arrange our diet before the retreat?
That's a good question. So really the process of healing that happens with these master plants, in particular with ayahuasca being a very powerful master plant, begins the moment you decide that you want to explore. it's almost like that moment when you make that decision, you take that step for yourself, you're already aware of how significant this is, even if it's just at your subconscious level, and already your spirit will start to bring things up for you to look at. Yeah. And a lot of information can come through to you before you even get there to start your retreat. To facilitate that process, you can start dieting early. You can start eliminating certain things from your food diet, which will help you with your dieta process in the jungle. So the reason we call it a dieta is that what the Shipibo people have figured out over the thousands of years that they've been learning how to heal with the power of nature in the jungle is that these certain powerful master teacher plants, they're not just herbal remedies, they're powerful consciousness teachers, they're particular ones, require us to respect them and take care of them in a certain way by not contaminating our bodies with certain things like salt, like refined sugars, like red meat, blood, acidic foods. Those sorts of things, that's the main sort of categories, will block and interfere with that energetic and conscious connection with those master teacher plants. Some of them are more strict than others, but that's kind of a basic list of the areas. And you can see that on our website. We talk about the preparation. If you eliminate those things earlier, you start the diet earlier, your system kind of gets set up in this neutral way where information can start to come through to you even before the retreat. And I often encourage people to ask yourself a question before you, what is it that I'm seeking? What am I looking for in this healing process? And what are the principal things that I need help with healing? And then when you wake up, try to lay there in bed and think about what came up in your dreams. Once you start asking these questions consciously and you start purifying your body and preparing yourself to actually meet these plants, the process has begun. So we say minimum 3 days to avoid those things before you drink ayahuasca, okay? Because otherwise your experience with ayahuasca can be complicated. But ideally, a couple of weeks is good. Some people like to do it 2 months before they come. It's up to you, really. You can eat a very healthy diet without having those things in there. When we don't have acidic food like lemon, vinegar, vitamin C, stuff like that, that can be a little bit complicated health-wise if it's continued for a prolonged period, because it can make it harder for the body to absorb iron. Iron is better absorbed when you have high vitamin C levels. So what we can do to counter that is eat other non-acidic foods that are high in vitamin C, like red peppers, for example, and high iron content foods like lentils and rich greens.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And and you have the list of the food on the website, exactly.
Yeah, dairy is a big one as well for diet. Like the plants really don't like animal products, and it's not just meat, but it's also dairy. And if you can cut that out, dairy product, that's a big one. It also causes a lot of inflammation. Anybody have any other questions about diet or dietary preparations?
Can I ask Þórey in Icelandic, hvað dairy, Þórey?
Mjólkurvörur.
Okay.
Milk products, yeah. Cheese, milk, yogurt, anything made with milk, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In like an ideal diet preparation wise, is it kind of better to lean more towards like raw foods or like cooked foods are a little easier for digestion, but there's that kind of debate?
It depends on the body. Some people may have a weak pancreas and need foods to be somewhat cooked. Like me, I find raw food very challenging for me. Yeah, you too, Phoebe. Maybe it's got something to do with aging. But for many years, I just have found very plain raw food to be too much, too difficult to digest. It's up to you, really. I mean, you don't want to cook the heck out of things, and you definitely are better off not frying foods like saturated or unsaturated fats, even at high temperatures. It's kind of congestive for the body. So that's something to keep in mind. But, you know, what we would tend to do when we're on diet is either roast some root vegetables or steam a whole bunch of vegetables. And then when you cook your fish or your chicken, if you eat meat, cook it well, really well. Allow the fat to drain off. You know, you don't want fats. You just want simple proteins and simple veggies, whether they're cooked or uncooked. And then for fruits, we only eat not too ripe apples, pears, and bananas, if we're good. Some of us who are naughty and don't follow our diet restrictions eat blueberries. But they're a bit acidic for dieta though.
Yeah, no poke, I guess, right? Preferably.
No poke. Yeah, nothing that's cooked in acid.
What did you say? No.
He's in Hawaii. Poke is like the fish, which is
Oh, okay.
The raw fish.
fish.
Okay.
Cooked in lemon vinegar, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have quite good information on the site and what we got. So it's like a little bit more, the question is just sort of more about the general atmosphere or sort of the daily routine or something.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting when people first get there, they usually feel so happy to be in the jungle. Just the massive explosion of nature all around is such a beauty. It's such a wonder when you first get there. Most people feel, oh my goodness, I want to buy land here and I want to move here. And then a week later, it's kind of shifted.
Oh, I want to get out.
A little bit. So as I mentioned earlier, the diet process, like first step is diagnosis. Okay. We hear your story, what you want help with. Maestros get to have a look. You get to have your first encounter with ayahuasca and start to begin this what feels imaginary in the beginning, this idea of bonding with a plant as a person. It's kind of like you're stepping blindly into a world you're not familiar with. So it's kind of novel and it's interesting and it's exciting, you know. After the first few days, you know, you're now probably have had your purgative, you maybe have had some purging in ceremony, and that can be intense, but you can also see how it makes you feel so much lighter and cleaner, and you're curious, you want to go deeper, you want to learn more about the dieta process, about what is this and how to pay attention to where the diet is showing up and what's the difference between the diet talking to you and ayahuasca talking to you. And the facilitators start sharing about their experiences with dieting and so on. So you start to kind of go deeper, and you may also be starting to confront some stuff, you know. Maybe there's a particular principal relationship that really needs attention in your world, in your history, and that stuff is starting to come up. After the first 4 ceremonies, so that's Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, you have a couple of days rest. And this is when we're really encouraging people to get as much sleep as possible, pay attention to the dreams. You're really starting to get into it. Some people may have been blocked with ayahuasca and are really wanting to like go deeper, or some people may have had very intense experiences with ayahuasca by this stage and are wanting to figure out how gently they want to go. You know, there's a lot of deepening into getting to know yourself. Then I would say at about 2/3 to 3/4 of the way through the retreat, things start to get quite uncomfortable. That unearthing of your stuff that I talked about, that the diet kind of facilitates and like promotes, it starts to feel sticky. It can feel like something's not right. you know, something's not right either in your process with the plants, or like your relationship with other guests, or something at home. Something starts to kind of usually feel like, I don't know if this is quite what I had expected. And there's a really poignant moment in the dieta process to observe yourself. And this is where the facilitators help you to see that what the diet is doing is cleaning and showing you your patterns. If you have a bit of a tendency to try to control everything, let's say, at that point in the diet, you'll be trying to control things kind of in an amplified way. If your tendency is, let's say, to feel like there's no point and be apathetic, that can be a very strong thing that's happening for you at that moment. If you're carrying a lot of grief, there can be a lot of emotion coming up, and you can feel a little bit like you're drowning in it. So it really, each one of us has our own story. We have our own traumas, our own experiences, our own way of like having dealt with those and built the personality construct that we've built. And at that point in the process, it can be pretty pointy, but it's perfect, because the more of that stuff which is coming up, the less you're going to be carrying afterwards. And then the last part of the retreat is clearing that stuff away, helping you to be free of it, and helping you to see and understand that these patterns have been deeply rooted, and now they're like being shed, and giving you another opportunity to return to your life and do things a little differently. And then right at the end, it's cleaning and full-on protection for the work that you've done, and helping you go back to your life. So that's kind of typically how it goes. There can be variations to that, but that's what our facilitators are trained to support, is to help you enter that process, go as deep as you're ready to go, to feel safe, to feel held, but to help you not run away from yourself too, you know, to be able to see, okay, this is me. This is what the plants are bringing up, and this is what's holding me back. The plants will tend to bring up what you're most ready to deal with and what most needs to be dealt with. And then it's a process. Each diet is a kind of deepening of that, and a kind of, you know, layers of the onion, so to speak, kind of getting more and more into different things. And it's, for some people, it becomes a very beautiful, very meaningful path. And for others, it's a short kind of experience, and then you go back to your life and figure out ways that you want to integrate that.
So it's good to be, like you're describing, be aware before that you have some kind of self-awareness of what you want to go and face and leave. And
Absolutely. I would say that's critical, not just before, but throughout. And I would say it's probably the principal notion that I encourage people to hold close to themselves is self-reflection, self-awareness. Always, always, you know, you come to confront stuff that you've experienced from others, stuff that you've done to yourself, and stuff that you've done to others too. Yeah, it's a process of really learning mastery of your own life, and reconciliation and resolution of things from the past which haven't really been mastered within you. So self-reflection is the most important ingredient, I would say. And also, I would say in the Caya Shobo community in particular, it's something that we really advocate for. The work that we do, we're not interested in just sharing ayahuasca, you know, churning however many people through every week to just, you know, experience something, experience the spiritual world, and have a spiritual awakening. That can happen with ayahuasca, I guess. I mean, it certainly was a powerful first experience for me. But we've seen over the years that when people come for short stays, like 5 or 6 days, we're not able to really help them. We're not able to really help create a sustained change in their lives. And it just becomes like a weird relationship with ayahuasca, like a money-making mill. No, it's not something that we're interested in doing at all. This project is a genuine community initiative. The people who are part of it are genuinely deeply devoted to their own healing and their own development. And through that has emerged this wish to share with others. And that's the sort of people we want to help, is people who want help for themselves, who want to change their lives. And so we've learned over the years how to set it up to do that. And the type of person who's attracted to our offering has matured as well. And so that quality of self-reflectiveness and self-awareness helps the retreats go well. You know, it's like easier to be in a deep, intensive personal process when other people have a level of maturity to be self-aware. And if triggering happens, which it can happen, people have the maturity to take space, you know, and to reflect. And it's all serves for a kinder, kind of more stable environment, I would say, than one where people are seeking powerful experiences, kind of mind-blowing experiences, if that makes sense. Oh,
Phoebe, you had a question for a while?
Actually, it's more like an adding. It's not really a question. Just I found over the years with dietas always, Becky, you said it all so wonderfully, but I just wanted to add the intention. Like when I graze through my own awareness and I have something that I want to really looking for support with and clearing, and then I go through, let's say there's like it's not just one, it's like 3 or 4 subjects within my own being that I would like support with. It's fascinating how the medicine and the master plans especially, or both, so cover everything. Nothing will be, your personal intention will get answered. That has been my experience. Yes, the maestros add, and yes, the healers will support it, but it is really within our own being that you make the connection with the plant, the consciousness of the plant and the consciousness of my own being. It's always fascinated me how every little piece was covered in my intentions, if that makes sense.
That's
Becky,
beautiful.
correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, thanks, Becky.
Not at all. I think that's amazing. That's a really, really key point. I think that maestros often remind people during the retreat as well, you know, when we can get a little bit sidetracked because a lot comes up. Maestros will often say, well, stay focused. What did you come for? What is your intention? You know, if you hold a good focus on that, then the entire process will be kind of channeled more and facilitated in that way. And that's definitely really helpful. And as you said, there can be multiple things. I think this is a good point as well. For the Shipibo people, our body, our heart, our mind, our spirit, they're not separate problems. Where the being is an integrated whole. It's weird in our cultures that we've separated these things. For me, it's a little bit like the way we've separated all of the natural elements into this periodic table and said, okay, well, we understand nature now. We've taken the body of nature and we've dissected it into a million pieces. And similarly, in the way we heal ourselves in our culture, we've kind of dissected ourselves. Now, we obviously understand these things are related, but in the jungle is a deep appreciation of how each thing is deeply interwoven. And the plants that are prescribed, usually if there are significant or obvious physical issues, that's where the healing is first targeted. But that expression and manifestation of those physical issues is only really the surface of the root issues, which really go into the emotional state, into the deep psyche, and into the spirit. And the plant acts at every level. Mm-hmm. Yes, Johanna. So Tori,
just a practical question.
Sorry, Johanna. Tori had her hand up first, so I'm just going to go question, and then we'll come back to you.
It's just interesting. It's like Phoebe was describing. I went to my first. I did a ayahuasca here in Iceland, just before I started the shamanic. So it's like 5 years ago, something like that. And I felt I really needed it, but I was really scared. So I was like, okay, if I get space, I will go. And so I read a lot about it and was really preparing myself to do this. There's it gone. No, there you are. Smooth. And it was so interesting that everything I had put intention in dealing with came up. And it was an amazing experience, actually. And I never went to the shaman that was holding it. He was really holding the space in a beautiful way. And it was interesting. He spoke a lot about this, the plant coming to Iceland and being mixed with Icelandic water. And still because you were talking about bonding with the plant, so that came up for me. And every time when I think about, it was like several days after I did the journey, if I thought about the plant, I felt actually my spine going like way up to the ceiling, and there's like kind of like the plant was with me. And now when I think about it, I'm like, okay, I can feel the energy of the plant. And now I'm just wondering, I'm a bit like very curious, of course, but also a little bit, oh my God, because the other wasn't so horrible. And I'm thinking like bonding with the plants actually in the jungle and everything. So it's just, I'm just thinking about it.
A bit overwhelming, perhaps, the intensity of it.
It was not that bad. It was a really good, I mean, I went through hard feelings and everything, but it's just like a very heavy duty healing session, you know.
Yeah.
And but of course I'm not as scared as for the first time, but I'm just thinking it will be different, and it's different water in Peru. It's like that.
Yeah,
no.
It can be scary, you know, and actually the fear tends to come up more just before you get there. And that's
but I felt it was very different. Just really working on the intention helped me a lot.
Yeah,
and it wasn't scary when I was sitting there. I just did one round. I didn't do more in the session. Enough came, and since then I've been very, like, there was so much that came up that I didn't feel the need to jump on the next and do it immediately again. But I was aware that we might go with Patricia and do this now. So that has been preparing for that. So I'm looking forward to it.
It can take time for sure to just digest it all, right? And then listen to your body's readiness to go deeper. I'll just say about the level of intensity that it's difficult for us to predict, you know, particularly in the first week, whether you're going to have very, very powerful experiences with ayahuasca, and also how intense and deep your dieta process might go. I mean, a person who comes down and decides to fast for 10 days, yeah, it's going to be pretty intense. Versus a person who prefers to just, you know, not clean their body that much or whatever. But there's no hard requirement for you to, don't worry, Johanna, I haven't forgotten you. No hard requirement for you to go intensely, you know. There's no pressure. It can be good at times when you feel ready to go deep, you know, drink a big cup of medicine and see what you can see, but there's no like absolute necessity. As I said in the beginning, ayahuasca typically for the native Shipibo is used as a diagnostic tool. The patient didn't even drink ayahuasca. They would drink the diet plants. And I've seen many people choose to approach this path with a very gentle attitude and just have microdoses of ayahuasca and very gentle dieta journey. And it's still very effective. It takes longer, but it can be a way to do it. In Caya Shobo, at least, there's no pressure to go one way or the other. We have the skill and the support and the capacity for people who do want to go really deep, but we're not like demanding that you do that and jump on the wagon, you know.
And you just sort of do what you feel like in the moment there when you're just listening to what's happening and
try to figure out the dosing that's good for you. Our aim really, ideally, for in terms of the state of being affected by ayahuasca, we'd like to target a dosing level that works for you where you are in the mediación, which is the word used to describe the effect of the medicine. It's been opened for you. Your body is open, your mind is open, your heart is open, a process is open. And yet you're not like being blasted to the other ends of the universe. And you can actually start to work with your dieta. You can start to see aspects of yourself and reflect and make choices. This for us is the ideal space. Fresh medicine, open body, open mind, open heart. And if you do have powerful experiences, that's good. It's okay. It's not like that's a problem. That can be a profound learning that happens there, but it's not what we're targeting. We're not targeting the visions. We're targeting your personal work.
Mm-hmm. Nice, thank you.
Yeah, Johanna, go ahead.
It's just a practical questions. Yeah, now what airline do you recommend from Lima to Iquitos?
From which country? So from Iceland?
No, from Lima.
From Lima to Iquitos.
Yes, Iquitos.
Oh, yeah. I always fly LATAM personally. LATAM, yeah. There's two principal options being LATAM and Star Peru. There are a couple of other cheaper airlines, Viva Air and another one. But LATAM is the more expensive. It's not massively more expensive though than Star Peru. And it's the most reliable, the most safe, the most comfortable. I find it to be the best option. And I will even, if I arrive late at Lima airport, book myself a night at the Costa del Sol airport hotel. So I don't actually leave the airport car park. I just walk across from the departure gates to the hotel. And I spend a night there and then I'll catch a morning flight to Iquitos. That's usually how I do it. Some people like to just get down and get up to the center as quickly as possible, but I like to.
I think we will stay 2 days in Lima before.
Okay, that's great. Well, when you do that, I usually like to go to Miraflores. That's my favorite area. There's a couple of other areas like Barranco is a cool area as well. But Miraflores is like the more safe, touristy kind of area. It's got some nice artisan markets. You can pick up some nice alpaca blankets or some silver jewelry or whatever, really affordable and beautiful stuff up there. And nice restaurants. There's one called Haiti where I usually go to get a dieta-friendly salad or trout or something like that. Ask them not to put salt on it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, nice. And the group who will start 13th of September.
Mm-hmm.
Is this the group?
Yeah, in September, I said it's not too many bugs at that time of year, so it probably won't be too bad for you.
No,
Is this the group that is going to be together?
No, there's not. This is not the group. There's a few of you guys here, right? That are coming in September. Who's coming in September? Yeah, the rest isn't coming. But there, you guys are. I think you are 12 people at least, right?
Yeah, we are 9 from Iceland, and then is Patricia, our teacher.
Yeah.
So I don't know more.
Have a couple of extras. We normally limit it to 11 because it's just a lot. But because you guys are so, you know each other well, and some of you are happy to share a little bit of space.
I think Phoebe and I are going to be down there for that retreat, right, Phoebe? You plan to go down there in September? Yeah.
Yes.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
See you there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we start the 18th of September.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's the same. So you, Francisca, and Phoebe, you are the two extra. Are you been
going to be another one.
Oh, in another one.
We're going to have 3 facilitators for that retreat, just because you guys are such a big group. Probably Mike is coming down there from Calgary. He's a long time dieter. He's great.
We like to have a man there as well as women. A lot of energies can come up, and it just helps people feel safer when there's a good balance. of men and women in the facilitation team. Yeah. So Mike's confirmed he's going for that retreat.
Pretty sure. He's
Amazing.
planned for it now. Yeah.
That's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
It's very exciting to go there.
Let's go.
I'm
Uh,
excited too. I haven't been in a while.
Yeah, that would be great. Does that mean I'm driving the kids to school, or are they going to be with their dad?
Mhm.
Don't know yet.
Can I ask one question? Could you recommend some hotel? Okay, there are some on the website, I know, but
In
Costa del Sol.
in Lima and Iquitos.
Right. So in Lima, the one I'd like to stay at when it's close to the airport is just that one at the airport, but you're probably going to be going into Miraflores. What I usually do is look on hotels.com and choose a place on either side of, I think it's Jose Larcos is the main street that runs through Miraflores. I usually, let me just double check out maps. So Miraflores, yeah. So
Isn't it all around the park, the Ovalo de Miraflores, right
Yeah.
there?
Yeah, the park is called Parque 7 de Junio. I'm going to send everyone actually a little screenshot here. See if I can do this. Okay.
Oh yeah, and you know the restaurant Haiti is right on the park, the Parque Central de Miraflores. So there's that central park in the middle there, and then all around it there's like small little hotels, and the one that I used to stay at, the Casa Suya as well.
Suya is an option. Yeah, there's a few. It's difficult to get the screenshot because the street is. Yeah, let me see if I can.
Yeah.
That park is at the kind of top end of these two big streets which run through Miraflores. They meet in a triangle at the top of that park. So the one that runs almost directly down the middle of the map is called Avenida Jose Larco. And there are lots of hotels on either side of that street, which are really well located. And then the other one, the other diagonal that runs kind of diagonally down to the left corner, I think that's called Diagonal, actually, or Malecon Balta. Oh, no, 28 de Julio. So around those two main streets is where I usually look. On the north side of that park, there are options as well, but it's noisier. There's more traffic, I find. I feel that the hotels in this area kind of below the park and either side of those two streets are usually better. Does that make sense?
What's the currency there again? Is it?
Soles, Peruvian soles. You can withdraw money from the ATM. You get a reasonable rate doing that, or you can go to a money changer. Don't just change money on the street in Lima. You're likely to get ripped off. Go to one of the money changers where you have to go inside and show your passport. You can look them up.
Are there ATMs there?
Yeah, there are ATMs in different places. Yeah. Yeah, all around.
Is it better for us to have with us dollars and change the dollars to the soles?
Yeah, if you do that, you need to bring very good quality dollar notes. No tears.
Yeah, exactly.
No tears, no holes, no.
Oh.
Yeah, they won't accept them. So they're very particular there because they're worried about counterfeit notes. So you have to take really good quality notes. But yeah, that's a good idea as well. You get pretty good rate when you do that. That's probably the best way if you can get a good rate for US dollars where you are. Otherwise, just use the ATM.
But can you use dollars somewhere?
Yes, you can change
Okay.
US dollars everywhere. You can't really
Oh.
use them in the stores. I mean, you could, I guess, pay a taxi driver, but you can use Uber in Lima, and that's fine. But you ideally, like typically you need to change the dollars in the money changing store to get your soles, and then use those to go shopping.
Yeah.
Becky, what was the name of the hotel by the airport that you stay in, please?
It's at the airport. It's the Costa del Sol. It used to be too expensive, but then COVID kind of made them drop their prices massively, and now it's pretty reasonable. I usually just stay there. It's actually joined to the airport building by a walkway.
Okay, good to know. Thank you.
What you do normally is you come out of the departure gates and you just cross the street. You walk around the other side of the hotel and you enter and you're there. And they have a 24-hour restaurant, which is really good.
Thank you. That's great.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hvað heitir aftur staðinn? Iquitos.
Sorry?
Veit ég hvað, Þóri, hvað heitir staðurinn aftur svo þegar við
Iquitos.
Iquitos.
Oh,
And the hotel in Iquitos.
okay. In Iquitos, I mean, they're not great options, I have to say.
Oh.
It's a pretty basic town, Iquitos. Again, I would use hotels.com. I used to stay every now and then in maybe Victoria Regia has decent air conditioning. There's the Hotel Dorado. There's a bunch. Again, just have a look on hotels.com. Have a look around Plaza de Armas. That's the central place. Plaza de Armas. I'll write that in here. Actually, I'll do another screenshot for you. Plaza de Armas. Okay, yeah, this is the central area. Oh, weird. Oh, there's two Plaza de Armas, so be careful. Okay, this is the one that I mean. I didn't realize there were two. Okay. Zoom chat. Sorry, a little bit slow with this stuff. There we go. So that plaza there is close to the river. It's close to Boulevard. And you see the Dawn on the Amazon cafe. That's a cafe which does good dieta-friendly food. Yeah, there's a bunch of different hotels around there. If you have a look in hotels.com. There's be careful because there's another Plaza de Armas which is further inland. I wouldn't stay inland. I'd stay close to the river.
I don't see a plaza there on this.
Say the name of it, but you can see there's a plaza there. Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit more.
If from the water, is that?
Okay.
Is it a water or? Yeah.
Zoom out a bit. Yeah, here we go. So you can see a little better. Okay, I'm getting the hang of this chat.
It's the plaza. That's the green rectangle in the middle there that has those green spider webby lines on them.
Yeah, so this is zoomed out, the same area.
Okay, so it's not like a football arena.
No, it's
No,
Stadium.
that's a park.
It's a park. Okay, yeah, got it.
Okay, so so here on the second picture I sent, you can see the river.
Plaza de Armas, yeah.
You can see the river on the right-hand side, and you see the Plaza de Armas de Iquitos there. So yeah, hotels in this area would be okay.
The
But then
flying dog.
you can actually see Victoria Regia there. But I don't like staying in Iquitos very much, to be honest. It's noisy. It's pretty yucky. It's a lot of motor car smoke. The quality of the accommodation is pretty rough. Personally, I would rather stay in the jungle, and then if I have to spend a night before I fly or when I arrive, I'd do it in Lima. I'd rather make better use of my time. The artisan markets in Lima are better.
So you mean it's not worth it to stay there just to look at the town and stuff?
Well, it can be really nice to do a field trip to, go on the river, maybe see some pink dolphins, something like that. But you can actually arrange that during your retreat, or you could plan to go and do one day in town. I wouldn't spend much time there. You can't, like, if you're going to go shopping, there's not a lot of options. They don't sell alpaca, they don't sell like really nice ceramics or jewelry or anything. The best things to buy in Iquitos are plants and weavings made by the native people, but we have those artisans actually come to the center to present their wares. So,
but Lima at least is very interesting to stop there.
Lima's interesting. I don't know.
Yeah, and also if you can go from so it is possible to book also like in advance at the retreat, is it?
Oh yeah, so we offer you the chance to stay an extra night, I think. What we have to do, we have to be mindful that our facilitators need a break. It's a pretty big give supporting a retreat, and so we need to double check about who's going to be there and how much time they really need for themselves. But definitely they need the Sunday night completely off. So we usually, if we do let people stay, we offer just an extra night only.
Or we come at the Monday morning, is it so? Just in the morning.
Yeah, that's right. You can come on a Sunday night, for example, like that's okay too. It's
Yeah.
more people have been there for a whole retreat. The facilitators are really ready for some downtime and alone time.
Yeah, exactly.
And they need some refreshing, usually there's a week in between retreats. They need refreshing before the next retreat. But I think at that time we're a little bit cramming them in, aren't we, Francisca? September, do we jump directly to another retreat? Oh no, we've got a week in between. Yeah, it'd probably be okay to stay an extra night at the center.
Oh, we'll look into it.
Tyler.
Becky, do you know if there's any dates this year that you're going to be going back down to the jungle?
I got to work it out. So my daughter starts in high school in September. So Francie's going down in September. I was considering coming in August, but I actually don't think that's going to work. So it's probably going to be October. Oh, November. Oh, well, no, you're not a woman.
Yeah, you always do the women's retreats.
Well, I don't have to. You could do them. I could come in for October probably. Yeah.
I'll just stay in touch. It would be nice to kind of continue to build a relationship with you or Miguel too, if he's coming down there separately another date. I'd like to plan around that ideally.
He's going in June. He's going to be there for most of June. Actually, we're just about to send a little notice to the communities to say Miguel's going to be there for the whole month. And then he's there more often than me. So he'll probably be back again in August, I would say.
Okay. I was looking more like August through December.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, let's stay in touch. Let's figure it out. But I think he's more likely to be there more than I am. I think I've got one more trip in before the end of the year. Just need to figure out when exactly.
Awesome.
Okay, well, personally, I think this has been great, and I think we got a lot of, it's just nice to speak about it as true instead of just reading the papers.
That's great. I'm happy that it was helpful for you.
Absolutely.
We'll make this recording available, and if you want to check back in with what we talked about, then yeah, that's great. And you can send other questions that you've got to Aaron through the email, or you can, how else, Francie? You can send us a message on Facebook. That's another one. We have a Signal group, but we usually use that for people who've already been. So this is new for us. Maybe what we need is like a little kind of pre-retreat forum chat group or something. That might be something to consider. We'll let you know if we set that up soon. We'll chat about it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, thanks, guys. That was fun.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you
Thank you.
very
Bye.
much. Thank you.
Soon.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.